And you're live. Hello, everyone. Yes, welcome. I've been looking forward to this session since I found out that we're going to do it. So this is actually a Meet the Leader session with Clarivate. And the title of the session is Create Your Future with Clarivate. So I met this really good bunch of senior people in this company. And Clarivate is actually a global leader in providing solutions to accelerate the life cycle of innovation in the field of life sciences and intellectual properties. So lots of big words there. And I think we will have the team kind of run through a little bit for us what the company actually does. One of the reasons why I was really excited to have this session was because I found out that Clarivate has been hiring very actively. I believe over the last few months, they've hired over 100 people or somewhere thereabouts. And many of some of these people were fresh graduates or people who've recently been retrenched. And I know that at the moment, obviously finding good jobs is very important to everyone, and we're very excited to be able to work with a company like Clarivate. For those of you who are watching this is actually streaming on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And because it's a live event, you can actually interact with us through the comments below. So if you have any questions for the panel or any comment or any thoughts you have, just ask it in the comments and we'll pick it up and we'll try to answer them live, as we go. Right. So I have with me today Shankar, who's a VP of the Penang Global Business Center, Dr. Caroline, Head of IP and Content, Valerie, Commercial Sales Director, and Nagain, who is the Head of Customer Service. Perhaps you guys want to have a quick 1-minute intro of yourself. Shankar, I believe you're on mute. Yeah.
Oops. Nope.
Yeah, you're not on mute anymore. Yeah, go ahead.
Yep, we are actually very passionate. We probably can go more than a minute, but I'll start first. So I'm Shankar. I'm the VP for the Penang Global Business Center. I come with about 25 years of HR experience, and I took a huge transition in my career to move into the Penang Global Business Operations. So for once, out of HR, but it's been interesting for the last 6 months. So I'm the first employee for Clarivate based in Penang, and as of today, we have close to 95 employees. I personally have been very inspired with the nature of Clarivate business, which I would say as the industry of the future for Malaysia, which is truly an advanced analytics environment that is specifically focusing on life sciences and intellectual property. I'll pass this on to Caroline, who's dialing in from the UK, who will intro herself and probably share some summarized overview about our products. Caroline.
Yes, hello. Thank you, Shankar. I'm Caroline. I'm the head of content operations for the intellectual property group at Clarivate. So just a little bit about the company. I mean, our purpose is that Clarivate, we believe in human ingenuity can transform the world and improve the future. And I think that resonates very strongly in the middle of a global pandemic. So we support our customers by providing critical data, information, products and solutions to help them to innovate. So it's powered by our colleagues who have deep domain expertise across scientific and academic research, pharmaceutical, biotech, and healthcare intelligence and intellectual property services. So the team that I lead, we specifically curate patent content for products like the Derwent World Patent Index. So we are acquiring, transforming, translating patent content. But the content operations group also acquire other content and transform that, like literature articles, trademark applications, litigation data. So the Penang Global Business Center for us is helping us to build out our resources in translating content so that source content is accessible for our customers, but also to help our editorial teams to then be able to really build out the value add curation and the analytics that fuel our platforms, our products, and our services. So I'm very much involved in the content aspect, but obviously customers are key to us as well. So I'm going to hand over to Valerie to share more about our customer and our sales team and inside sales.
Thanks, Caroline. Hello, everyone, and welcome to all our participants. It's such a pleasure to be acquainted with all of you in this webinar session today. My name is Valerie, and I'm the Commercial Sales Director responsible for the APAC Inside Sales team based at our new GBC site here in Penang. I've recently relocated back to Malaysia after spending more than 6 years in Singapore, where I focus on the establishment and development of the inside sales infrastructure and business integration within the IT and services industry. I'm truly excited to share with you later into the session on some of the insights and the opportunities related to the inside sales organization here at Clarivate. But for now, I would like to pass over to my colleague, Nagan, who is our head of customer service, to extend a brief introduction of himself. So, Nagan, over to you.
Thanks, Valerie. And once again, thank you so much for all for joining this webinar session. Thanks, Derek, for having us on this program. So my name is Nagin Karupiah. I'm the head of customer service in Penang Global Business Center, and very much happy to be part of Clarivate. I think it's truly demonstrating what I have been looking for the last how many years, right? As part of customer service, looking at from the internal customer and also the external customers' experiences. I'll be able to share more in detail about what we do in terms of our customer service strategy, how we work hand in hand in terms of supporting the inside sales team, looking after so many products. It could be an intellectual product, it could be a science group product from global business center perspective. So happy to be on the session, and thank you again for welcoming me.
Yes, thanks for all the introductions. We have loads of people actually commenting, saying hi. So that's
Hi.
hi Vindra, hi Christine, hi Suguna, Robin, Shanaka. Loads of people actually. And it's very encouraging to see a lot of people are actually interested. And we have some questions coming in already, but I have kind of start off with a question about my own. I know you have introduced Clarivate in bits and pieces as part of your own introduction earlier, but I'm really curious, right? So, seeing that, my understanding is it is a global company, right? So you have offices all across the world, and in APAC you're in Penang, right? So could you share a little bit about the Clarivate as an organization?
So maybe let me just give a quick intro, and my colleagues can actually add on, right? One of the things that Clarivate decided at the early part of this year is to set up global business centers. So there are 3 global business centers that has been identified: one in the US, one in the UK, and fortunately for Malaysia, it's in Penang, right? So there are 3 global business centers. Their goal is mainly to provide a complete world-class service excellence through end-to-end solutions, and this is really looking into seamless customer experience, right? And the way we are looking at achieving this part is through simplicity, scalability, and agility. So when we talk about simplicity for the Global Business Center, we are looking at driving operations from an end to end, right? Because end to end solutions is very, very critical. Secondly, is we are also looking at how we can scale, right, from a growth and transformation perspective. And thirdly, agility is our way of life, right? And right now things are not structured. We need to be very flexible to be able to deliver superior customer experience. And the main aim of setting up the Global Business Center, which I would say our success measures. For us in Malaysia, I always say that we are best value, right? It's not about cheap, right? It's about best value. It's about always having an environment of continuous improvements, an environment where we'll be able to cultivate innovation, focus on efficiency. And the second aspect would be customer, right? Customer mindset, customer first, customer mindset, customer experience. So everything that we do is very much focused on customers. In fact, we treat one another within the organization as customers. And last but not least, it's all about it's not about rah-rahs, but it's also the ability to create efficiencies, right? We want to be able to play to win, to everyone in the organization to have a winning mindset. They are all definitely going to be empowered and engaged. So that is pretty much in terms of what's the focus that we have been driving from a global business standpoint, and definitely looking forward for the transformation. Any one of you like to add on?
Is it
Yeah.
helpful to talk a little bit about our products and things as well for the
Yeah.
teams?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Um,
I would love to hear about your
for
product.
everybody on the call, I mean, I think sort of in the introduction, I spoke a little bit about we're trying to unleash the innovation in our customers. And so much of our products, as Shankar's kind of described, is about that end-to-end workflow for our customers, but also for ourselves. So if you think about every product that you use, your medical treatments, the services that you consume, all of them go through something we call the life cycle of innovation. So right from discovery through to protecting that product through to commercialization. So our end-to-end workflow, our products, our services are all about feeding that innovation market to help our customers get innovation to market faster. So I think it was Nagain was mentioning some of the products that we have in our research space. So within the science group, we have products like the Web of Science, which is organizing and collecting global information, research information from journals. Then we have Cortellis, a suite of life sciences products helping drive intelligent solutions in the life sciences space. Then we have our protection products into the intellectual property group. So these are products like Derwent, which is a suite of patent intelligence tools and services. Darts IP, that's about providing information and analytics to support IP prosecution and litigation. And then we have our commercialization piece, which is about bringing products to market so that the consumers can have them faster. So things like the Decision Researches Group that provides information and analytics to understand disease and health markets and optimize patient care and access to health products. And then again, brand protection. Products like CompuMark that protect trademarks, Monitor that protects domains. I mean, brand is something that we all know more and more about now. So our products, our content are constantly developing to help challenge and drive innovation. And as a company, this is what we do. And as a set of teams working together, this is what we do to try and constantly evolve and drive that innovation faster.
And I think it's like really impressive in the sense where obviously you have global business center in the US, UK, and one in Penang, right? And I'm really curious about the function of the role in Penang. How does the office in Penang support some of these IP products? And was there like a specific reason why you believe Penang was chosen to do this?
Well, I would say that number one, surprisingly, Penang being a very small island, 1/3 of the size of Singapore, we do have at least more than 300 over multinationals, more than 60 global business centers. That itself really is able to attest the fact that talent availability is great, right? Secondly, is I would think that Penang is actually a growing hub of data insights for the entire APAC. Like I said, we've had organizations that have been here for more than a decade, right, supporting this kind of business. Thirdly, is I do think that one of the reasons that Clarivate decides to come over to Malaysia is because of the multiple government supports that we've been having. So we've been working with many government agencies, which is just what people would say a friendly government that will be able to attract a lot of investors. So those are some of the aspects that we think that Penang was more on a competitive edge.
Yeah.
I think it's also the skill sets as well that we can find in Penang. I mean, so in my world, it's very much as I described about taking patent content and making it accessible to our customers. So we're having to aggregate content from all over the globe. And to just give you an idea, one of the challenges around that is actually language for accessibility. So last year we processed over 6 million patent documents from across the globe, and 3.5 million of those were in Chinese language. So the Penang Business Centre is really starting to help us to transform the way that we can provide our own internal translation services for our own internal teams, but also for our customers to make the content more accessible, excuse me, for them as well. So we've been able to, over the last few years, implement some best-in-class translation tools to be able to translate content into English. But the Penang Business Centre is really allowing us to start to look at scaling that skill set and to access highly trained, highly experienced translation experts to be able to move that content into English. I think one of the other things that attracted us to the Penang region as well is also the technology skills that are out there. So in my world, patent documents represent innovation. They can include things like 5G technology, pharmaceutical content. And so we're not only looking for translation skills, we're looking for people that have an expert background in these kind of technologies. We talk about new graduates, we talk about people working in industry that have an understanding of these technologies, so they can read these technical documents, translate them, and be able to understand the technology that underlines them.
Yeah, so it sounds like the tech and also the quality of the talent that you can find in Penang, which is really good. Me personally, I've always wanted to have a company that's on an island, because maybe there are beaches and I imagine I almost half expected you might say it's the food in Penang. I would move there just for the food, but my wife wouldn't. So Valerie, yeah. So my understanding is that there is like an inside sales team as well, right? That operates out of Penang, serving the APAC region.
Yes, that's correct, right? So, picking up from where Caroline, mentioned about the culture, the kind of talent pool that we have in Penang, I can actually attest to that. Reason being because, as you know, I've been working in Singapore for many, many years, and I've just relocated back to Penang, which happens to be my hometown a couple of months ago. And, after joining Clarivate, my expectations when I came back, was just a bit, below average because I thought the best talents I would always find in Singapore. So I wasn't putting too much expectations, right, when we actually started the hiring process here in Penang. But, in the first couple of weeks after I joined, we were actually reviewing through, having interviews with a lot of the candidates applying for all the different roles, especially the Caroline's team, right? Candidates that apply for the patent translation positions. I was truly amazed. I mean, being away after such a long time, coming back to Penang, apart from the food, right, is amazing. How, the kind of talent pool that we have today, right? And a lot of our employees today, they are in their early 20s. And the kind of talent that we see, right, in the course of the last couple of months, you know, completely throw, I was thrown completely off course because I never expect, right, Malaysians, right, Penangites, right, can be that talented, right? So I'm really proud to say, right, I'm a Malaysian because we really, really do have great talents here, not only in Penang, but I believe, the whole of Malaysia, that we hope that, we will be able to attract, right, this potential people to join us here as we start up our GBC Center in Penang.
And probably just to add on also, right, Derek, one of the things that, as well, myself and again interviewed a lot of folks, right, we were, and even though I was in HR, I was away from talent acquisition for quite some time, I was really taken aback. It's just not only talents in Penang, but talents overall in Malaysia, the Malaysians who are returning over to Malaysia, right? I mean, it's just amazing to see the quality of the candidates that we have. And a lot of people say that, okay, as a startup, you tend to hire only experienced folks, right? And I can definitely say that, at least about 20 to 25% of the folks that we've hired are fresh graduates, and that's a surprising thing for us itself, because we as we interview a lot of fresh graduates, we were completely amazed with their quality and their capabilities and also their domain expertise, right? And we also the remaining about 30 to 35% of them are retrenched workers, a lot of experienced folks who have lost their jobs, and we found that there are a lot of capable people out there. So again, we are in an advanced analytics environment, to have folks that have that intellectual capacity, and not only the ability to communicate. We are really glad that we are able to get these talents over in Malaysia.
Exactly.
Absolutely. I mean,
Great.
just to add in a little bit on that, unless Brian have a question to pose, then we
Oh
can.
yeah, Nagin, perhaps you can go ahead. Yeah,
Right. Absolutely.
go ahead.
Just to add in what everyone has just mentioned, even from the customer service perspective, we were very much selective in identifying the suitable candidate. Though the process may take uh, 3 to 4 kind of screening process, but we just want to make sure that we have the right fit of people to join Clarivate, right? And the talent and it's amazing, right? So we have a mixture of people that we have got on board, graduates, just fresh graduates who came on board. We have people who have, like what Shankar mentioned, retrenched, that we have brought them in, those who have already have that kind of experience, people who have been what we have PhDs who have joined our customer service environment. We have person who have completed law. We have a real MBBS doctor joined us. So it's a kind of a very mixed balance kind of customer service team that we have here in Penang. And all of that is because that we want to give the best to our customers, right? So same thing, we're looking at that kind of talent pool of people who are willing to come on board for a long-term career with Clarivate. So all of you out there, I mean, this is one of the opportunities that you can actually seek.
Yeah. So thank you, Nagin. And we have a lot of questions in the comments. So I think if you see Brian's face, by the way, it means we're going to ask a question from the public. And maybe, Brian, you can share a question with us first before I go back to some of these other things that I would like to ask the panelists.
Yes, thank you so much. So there has been a lot of people asking, similar to this question. Sorry if we are being blocked over here. I'll remove this question shortly. They were very curious about how has Clarivate, navigated in this current pandemic crisis, right? Have you done what have you done to support your staff in this crisis? And a very timely second question here by Nur Shahira, since we just mentioned, what do we expect from fresh graduates, right? Newcomers to the company. So what is your expectation for people who are looking to join Clarivate?
So
Brian,
Thank you, Brian.
Shankar, go for it. I was going to go with the pandemic question, because this is one that I think is so important. So I've got a couple of pieces in response to the pandemic question, because I think it's a very good one. So, I mean, first of all, as a company, I'm going to go back to innovation again. I mean, when you think about it, innovation is critical in managing the challenges of the pandemic, and firing and supporting innovation is basically what we do across, discovery right through to helping to get products to market. So it's not just about developing those therapies and the vaccine ultimately, which we're all hoping for. I think if you read a lot of the blogs, watch a lot of the online webinars, you can see that innovation is also just about producing really fundamental things like PPE for our healthcare workers and to keep the public safe. And also, you see things about some of the innovation projects around rapidly developing ventilation, non-invasive ventilation technologies to help patient care. And so much of that, the way that we've been able to see a global response to the pandemic, comes from the intellectual property, the innovation tools that Clarivate is all about trying to support and make accessible to those that need to be able to drive that innovation to help us get out of this crisis. So, I mean, our business, our products help support that innovation life cycle, and that's incredibly important. And I think what you'll probably pick up from a lot of us is just how passionate we are about that whole core reason for the business that we work for. I think the second part that you picked up on is, what have we done for our colleagues during this crisis? And I think, the recognition is that our colleagues, the talent that we work with, is our most valuable asset. The management team, the executive leadership team, have really come together to support our colleagues across the world. We were able to very rapidly move to this kind of virtual working environment, which ensures that we're keeping our colleagues safe across the globe, wherever they may be. There hasn't been a lot of travel, obviously, as a result, but we've really connected through these virtual media. Our CEO, Jerry Stead, holds a Q&A session live every 2 weeks with all the colleagues across the world to answer questions, to share what's going on with the business, and to really make sure that everybody is being communicated to and with. And I think that's been incredibly important. The other thing is, we know that our colleagues have experienced a number of challenges. When you work from home, many of our colleagues have young families or have dependent family members who may be shielding because of health challenges. And the company's been really responsive to trying to make sure that the working environment, even working from home, is as flexible as possible to support all of our colleagues through lockdown, because it has been incredibly challenging for everybody. So I think, our colleagues, their safety has been absolutely the primary concern. And when we have been able to return to the offices as well, there's been a lot of fantastic procedures put in place to make sure, again, even the return to the office where that's been possible has been as safe as possible. So I think for us during the pandemic, we're trying to help drive innovation that will get us out of this incredibly challenging situation. But as a business, as a leadership team, we have just really been focused on our colleagues' safety throughout.
Yeah. Absolutely,
Thank you,
Caroline. Absolutely, Caroline.
I just a quick one. Just want to make a comment, right? And one of the things I find really interesting is that because Clarivate is essentially supporting a lot of the innovation around the world, and one thing that people sometimes don't see, like in obvious ways, that a lot of times innovation happens when there are big global problems to solve.
Absolutely.
Right? And actually you're actually playing a part in supporting that, right? Trying to solve big global problems. So that's really good. And also the other part that I kind of picked up from what Caroline said was the culture of a company very often, relies heavily on how the CEO behaves. Yep. And when you're saying that your CEO has like town halls, not town halls, like sessions every 2 weeks, where he would answer questions, and very transparently share what's going on. I think that this kind of the approach will then filter through the entire organization, right? How people behave, how people are expected to communicate, and trust levels will also increase. So it's actually a very good sign what kind of culture the company has. So Shankar, sorry, before I interrupted you.
No worries. I'm just trying to answer the second part of the question, which regards to what's the expectations of the organization, right? We are really inspired to create the GBC in Penang as the best workplace ever. It's not just going to be a tagline; it's going to be an experience when everybody walk into the organization. So, at least from our perspective, as hiring leaders to the organization, I would say that one fundamental requirement is the sense of hunger. So when I mean sense of hunger, I know Penang is a food heaven. So sense of hunger from a perspective of, the urgeness of wanting to grow and thrive, right? In an environment which is completely different from the norm, right? We are quite used to manufacturing, shared services, but in an industry like what Clarivate is, I think that is a great opportunity. Secondly, is obviously because we deal, we are a global organization. We deal with multiple customers across the world, right? So a strong communication skills are very critical. So when I mean strong communication, it's just not about articulation, it's the ability to influence and being confident, especially when you're communicating with customers, right? And very important, everybody need to be to have a positive mindset. one of the things that as the leadership team in Clarivate we are looking for is an environment that is collaborative and teamwork, because that is non-negotiable, and most importantly as well, having skill sets which is consultative by nature, because we need to provide solutions to our customers. So these are pretty much generic qualities that we are looking forward to.
And
Thank you,
just
Shankar.
to add on a little bit, right, from what Shankar and Caroline has shared, I think just as Clarivat, right, is a market leader in providing, products and solutions to accelerate innovation, I believe that, looking at the current situation, the COVID pandemic is also helping to accelerate, right, and driving innovation agenda through the creation of a digital era. And what I mean by that is that as people come together, right, to adapt to the new norm. Initially, the situation creates a sense of uncertainty for many, many people. But today, I feel that it actually promotes a sense, right, of remote cohesiveness, collaboration, and teamwork among employees, despite many of our offices around the globe still remain closed. In Asia Pac, I believe our office here in Penang and in China, as well as I think recently in Japan, are the only offices that has been open to its employees. But all the other employees that is located in the other GBC centers, offices around globally, are still working remotely from home.
Thank you, Valerie. There are actually lots of questions coming. I spotted some good ones,
That's
and there are also a lot of people saying hi, that they're from Penang or close to Penang. Like, you guys are flying the flag for Penang really, really well. So hello everyone, those who are from Penang or not from Penang. Hello. I think Brian's here because he spotted a good question.
Yes, it's quite a long one as well, so I'm so sorry. People at the bottom row, you'll be covered for a few seconds. Please bear with me. But a good question from Clement was asked, what are your thoughts on individual who doesn't have the right paperwork relevant to the role? The role they applied for are completely different from what they were doing before, but their attitude and passion supersedes everything else. What are your thoughts on that?
Go ahead,
Well,
Valerie.
let me take it from customer service perspective, right? I
Mm.
think it's a wonderful question, Clement, because we want to look at opportunities that suits what credentials that we have. It could be work experience, it could be the paper qualification, right? So most of the job opportunities will have some certain baseline requirement that needs technical qualification, needs the experience. But here's the thing, for customer service, I would say we really focus on the type of people that we want to bring on board. It has to be a combination of right attitude. I guess the attitude makes a big difference in creating the population in any kind of organization, right? Because with the right attitude, we can build that team that we want to have. So for an example, I have a very mixture of team, a few people who even have at least a high school experience, that we have gone through 3 or 4 selection process before we can identify them to come on board. So again, to answer Clement's questions, it depends. Of course, attitude is the first thing that we would like to look into, then the follow up with the rest of the qualification. But yes, there's a lot of opportunities there.
Yeah, and I like to add on a little bit more from what Nagan had actually shared earlier. So, Clement, this might be a little long answer, right, to your very interesting question. But allow me to start off, right, with a cute, in reference to Derek's question to me earlier about the inside sales. Allow me to start off with a little quick overview, right, of the GBC landscape. So basically, we have a team that is residing in all 3 of our global GBC sites, right? It's not just our inside sales, but also the customer service teams as well. So we have the Penang site covering the APAC business. We have the Chandler, Arizona GBC that supports the US and the Latin American market, while our London office, supports the EMEA region. So overall, just to share a little bit landscape about the APAC business, we actually constitute to approximately about 40% of the company's global revenue contribution. Currently, we have presence in China, Japan, Korea, Southeast Asia, India, as well as Australia, New Zealand. right? So with an exponential growth plan for APAC into the new financial year, we are, we are having our hiring activities right now, which is work in progress, and this will continue into 2021. So one question is that people would ask is, what is the differentiator of the inside sales function here at Clarivate, right? One is that basically we need people from all different kinds of diverse background, right? With bilingual capabilities, as well as people who are actually passionate, right? In doing what they do best, which is actually selling. So as what Nagan has clearly indicated, yes, right. People with the right education background is someone that would probably fit into the role and kind of like expedite their knowledge experience much in a faster manner, especially for certain product lines like in the life sciences. But however, we do have other product and solutions that we actually welcome, right? Applicants from all backgrounds, whether it can be technical or non-technical. But more importantly, what we are looking at are people who actually possess the right attitude to be part of this exciting team. Now, what makes our inside sales team here at Clarivate different from the others is because this particular function is fully endorsed and supported by our company CEO, Jerry Stead, right? And our mission here today is to seek a group of intellectual capable bilingual account managers, right? And highly skilled individuals, irrespective whether you do have the technical or non-technical expertise, we are happy to listen from you, right? Basically, I people often ask, what are the top criteria that you actually look for in a candidate? For me, education background, sales experience is important, but at the same time, people with the right attitude supersedes everything, right? Roles that things can be taught in trainings, but a person's attitude will be very difficult to define. If you do not have the passion, right, to do certain things, it is actually difficult, right, from an employer to actually push that down to you. That's why there's a relative common question that is often asked, right, of an inside sales job is this a very stressful job? After all, it's a quota carrying portfolio, right? My answer is very simple, right? How do you actually define stress? Whether you are in a frontline job, managing a restaurant or even running a childcare center, it will be rewarding for some but stressful to others. However, what the key differentiator is that if you are passionate and enjoys what you do, stress is automatically converted to opportunity and eventually success, right? And here at Clarivate, with our leadership team as part of your pillar of strength, your vision of success can now be a reality. So irrespective what kind of background you come from, we welcome all applicants from the various demographics and also from the diversity of the backgrounds that you have prior or looking forward to actually develop further into a successful career. So we look forward to hearing from all of you.
Valerie, I
Thank
think
you,
that's
Valerie.
really interesting because you're touching on, there are, Nagain said it, that there's certain skill sets that we do need for certain jobs, but the most important thing for us is that we're hiring the right person. And our culture here is incredibly important. So our CEO will say those key 9 words about our values. We aim for greatness, own your own actions, and value every voice. And that's really strong throughout the culture of our business. So, I mean, for me, when we're looking to hire within the content operations set, there will be certain requirements we have. We're very much in the roles that we're hiring for at the moment. We're looking for those translation skills. We are looking for written translation skills as well as verbal translation skills, and we are needing technical skills. So I think to the point of the question was, that yes, there will be certain requirements for each of these job roles, but ultimately the culture of our business is incredibly important, and it's just really important to us when we're hiring that that our new potential colleagues will be a really good fit with that culture and that teamwork ethos that we have across the business.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep, just
Yeah.
to also add on, right? I think right now predominantly we have three major functions in Penang. That is the customer service organization that supports globally, right? US and EMEA for now, and then we have Caroline's team that is driving all the content editing, and Valerie's team that is the inside sales. Now we are proactively seeking for future employees in as we continue to grow and transform, right? So functions like IT, finance, order management, HR, and also the expansion from customer service and content editing will be coming in. So we are looking at more than 100 over positions coming up next year, and thus we are really looking forward for each and every one of you to be able to send your application to us. We'll definitely review all your applications, and our talented HR team will ensure that they review and come back to you.
Thank you, Shankar. So while we're on the subject of the types of talent that you're hiring and like what your requirements are, I'm actually very curious to ask Nagin, like how is the customer service function, right, in Clarivate different to how someone would imagine a typical customer service function would be?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a very good question because it gives us a different perspective to share what is customer service at Clarivate is all about. Right. I think it goes back to the type of customers, the market group that we support. So at Clarivate Customer Service, we support our customers from two big umbrella of, I could say, the segment, right? One is the intellectual property group, and the other one is the science group. So Caroline has shared about the intellectual property group. Probably she can give more detail on the intellectual property group. But for science group, I can say that we are supporting products like Web of Science, Life Sciences, which is also known as Cortellis. We support EndNote. We support account support, that queries that comes around. So having said that, we will have a very good diversified talent pool, which requires people with science background that can relate to queries that's coming from the customers. For an example, the type of customers we have are academicians, researchers, large organizations, whether it's a private or governmental organizations, individuals who need the data to present their theses or citations reports. So these are the kind of people that we support from the product side. But we also have people who need to know about their contract details. When is it going to be renewed, or when it need to be revised or whatnot. So our account support team will be attending to that kind of nature of queries. So we have a very good balance post sales services that comes under the customer service, and it's very truly testament, I would say, what Caroline just mentioned is about our values of companies, right? Aim for greatness, value every voice and own your actions. So this does not only demonstrate to our customers, but also to our internal customers, our colleagues around the world, right? So Jerry, our CEO, having a global audience every 2 weeks. So it demonstrates from the top, bottom, and bottom up in terms of customer service. So that's the kind of segment of support that we have in customer service.
Thank you, Nagin. And Brian is here. So I see there are lots of questions from the public actually. So I think we should take another one soon.
Yes. There are a lot of questions. Thank you everyone for being so engaged with the session. I just want, before we move on to the next question, I just want to let everyone know that we might not be able to answer every question during this live session, but don't worry, keep the questions coming, because even after the session has ended, we'll still be answering your questions by replying to your comments, right? So let's move on to the next question by Samantha here. Hi all, would like to know if Clarivate supports job rotation. What about employees completing ACCA qualifications part-time?
So
Yeah, go
obviously,
ahead, Shankar, then I will follow through.
So obviously, job rotation is something that we encourage, and this is the best time to join Clarivate, right? I keep on telling people that they are joining a pioneer organization. So when you join a pioneer organization, there's going to be a lot of growth. There's going to be transformation. So when there's growth and transformation, what would that mean? That would mean that each and every one of you would have the opportunity. I'm one firm believer that everyone should own their career, right? And when you join the company, I would encourage you to have conversations with your managers and your leaders to talk about what your career aspirations are. And it's the role of the manager to ensure that they clear the path for you and work through. And that's something that we continue to encourage. I would encourage someone to come into Nagin's organization. 3 years later, export it to, Valerie's organization, and likewise, because that's the only way, people will be able to grow and thrive. And you can only do that in a newly set up company where you have greater opportunities and so on. And for someone who's doing ACCA qualifications part time, again, we encourage employees to in their own time to enhance their capability and knowledge, because knowledge is critical. And the ACCA can potentially be utilized when we open up our own finance organization. We are looking at a function called code to order, and we probably would need people from an ACCA background and so forth. So I would truly encourage you to Samantha, for you to join, apply, and we'll definitely look into it. Now, again, you wanted to say something?
Now, I just want to say, regardless whether it's a part-time studies or whatnot, we encourage our colleagues to continue their education.
Yep.
But in the long term, once you have completed, you feel like joining us, yeah, why not, right? So there's so many opportunities. In terms of job rotations, there is always an opportunity on that. But again, let's come back to the real life, right? The real life is to make sure that to be the best in what we do before we can even progress. So that's something that we need to look into as well. So in customer service, for example, we focus on in building the expertise in what we do. If someone is supporting life sciences product, they will actually build in their expertise throughout from level 1, level 2, and level 3. So that actually creates an environment for you to grow as well. So I just want to share that before we can move on.
Yep.
Yeah.
And job rotation.
Thank you, Nagin.
Sorry, go on.
Yep. Go ahead, Caroline.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, I'm probably the longest serving member of Clarivate on this panel. I joined Clarivate over 19 years ago. I joined after I'd finished my academic experience. I have a PhD in genetics. I joined the content operations, curating the records for one of the IP services products for Derwent GeneSeek. And what I have found in my career at Clarivate is there is constantly opportunity. New projects come up. I've stayed in content operations. I've moved up through the business. I now lead the patent and the intellectual property function. But every few months, every few years, there's a new opportunity comes up. Now, my career has stayed within content operations, but I've also had many colleagues that have gone on to move into other areas of the business, and interestingly have that opportunity to move over into inside sales and to move into customer services. As a business, we have an incredibly close relationship with all of our colleagues in whatever function they work in. I work constantly with people within the commercial division about product and product enhancement, with groups such as Nagain's group with the customer services piece, because that in itself is also a feedback cycle for us. I very much agree with what Shankar said about, you own your career, you own your chance to develop, and it's about you seeing the opportunities, working with your manager, working across the business. There are so many opportunities within Clarivate. And it is about a lifetime of learning. We never stop learning. We never stop developing. Our CEO is very passionate about that. There's a lot of great training programs, development programs within the business. So I think really there's every opportunity that you want when you join us to be able to mold your career in ways you probably didn't even imagine. When I joined from university, I would never have believed the path that I've been on over the last 19 years. So it really is a great place to work and build your skills.
Yep,
Right.
Caroline is a living ambassador of of Clarivate, right? And also to look at job when you talk about job rotation, you can look at it from a vertical and horizontal, right? I mean, from a horizontal, there's 7 business lines that we have in Clarivate. To have that domain expertise is just amazing. So that again goes to individual preference. And you also, if you want to go vertically as well, you can also consider other functions, and those are things that should be considered when you're looking into job rotation. Sorry, Valerie.
No, I was just going to say, right, based on my personal journey, I would say that the key differentiator, Clarivate compared to the other organization is that, both our local site management team as well as our ELT, our executive leadership team emphasize the importance, right, of internal employee growth and satisfaction as
Yep.
much as the emphasis they actually put on our external customer satisfaction. So, for example, we actually provide a language allowance, right, for our employees because it's part of grooming, right, their skill set, getting them to learn another language so that they can actually progress further, right, into their, as part of their career development journey. And, as for example, in inside sales, right, one of one of our daily crucial activity is that we interact. We don't work in silo. We interact very frequently with all the other functions, right, that actually supports us through the end-to-end process. And that not only enhance our employee respect, teamwork, and calibration, but it also craft the path for each of their career development. Why do I actually say that? Because by working very closely with the other functions, you are exposed, right, to not only what you are good at, but what your other team members, right, are doing. So this will actually craft, right, a path for you as you want to venture into maybe a career change 2 or 3 years down the road, probably as an inside sales or a patent translator, and move on to customer service. That avenue is actually open and available to all.
Yep.
Yes, and I see there's lots of people commenting, asking how do they apply to Clarivate. So that's good to hear. If you are interested, there's actually a link in the comment, but we will share that link again a little bit later. So I think we're about 10 minutes ish to go. So I want to kind of prioritize some questions from the public. Again, if you're watching this streams from Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. You can ask any question in the comments, and even if we don't manage to answer your question today, right now, we will answer them a bit later. So yes, Brian put up the link to apply to those jobs. What's the next question, Brian?
All right. The next question is from Karen. Could you elaborate more on the 9-week training offered by Clarivate?
Oh, that's interesting. Yes,
Right.
do tell us more about this 9-week training.
Yeah, I can talk about it, from the customer service perspective, right? So we have a very well structured 9 weeks training, including the first week of Culture Week, where we share about the company, organization, the leadership that they'll be talking to, interacting along as they are part of Clarivate. And then the second week to the 9th week, we have planned a very structured module of training where the new hires will be exposed gradually in terms of all those tools, systems, and then to the product specifications, and also in being a hands-on training. While they are on training, the other 50% of the time they can hands-on in terms of attending to the queries. So that is, I would say, a minimum 9 weeks that we are talking about. Along the way, we can also need to see whether there is a need to customize those trainings. Whether we need to focus on certain individuals to bring them up to speed so that everybody moves on the same pace. We also look at the type of trainings, whether that need to be reviewed, whether the 9 weeks is sufficient. Should we increase that to 15 weeks if needed? So these are the kind of things that we have put in plan. And having said that, I have just reviewed the latest one for one of the product that we had, and the training can go up to almost 22 weeks end to end before someone can really become independent in attending to the queries or cases. So yeah, this is how we actually planned for customer service. I know it's kind of different between certain business units that we have. It could be different for the translation team. It could be different for sales. I will leave to Valerie and Caroline to support that.
Yes.
Yes.
Valerie, yeah. Perhaps you can go
Right.
first, Valerie.
Yeah, so very quickly, just to share with the audience, similarly as customer service, right? So we have a very structured and comprehensive training program that has been put in place for all of our new sales rep. So total is approximately about 6 weeks of training. As Caroline have explained, we have two different groups of product platforms. So the intellectual property group probably will take about 6 weeks, and then maybe the Web of Science and the Life Science module will probably take a week or two more due to the complexity of the contents. So basically, all trainings for sales will actually include both product as well as soft skill. So as you are aware, in APAC, we have presence in many countries that is that would require different kinds of language skill set. So the first 6 weeks, the trainings will actually be conducted first in English, and then for those sales reps that's actually supporting like Japan, Korea market, they will actually have a separate sessions with the local product consultants to ensure whatever training that they have actually experienced, right, in English, properly translated, right, into the local language so that they can confidently articulate those information over to the customers. So they would have to go through a series of personal and industrial review, self-paced product learning, soft skills, as well as product certification before they are put live into the job, right? So in terms of the product certification process, we have actually 3 stages. One of it is after 6 weeks or 8 weeks of training, they would actually go through a certification level called the crawl certification, where they need to apply all those learnings, both from their product and soft skills, into a live role play situation with the more senior and renowned product consultants. Then after they have actually passed through what we call the crawl certification, that's where accounts will start to be assigned to them. 2 weeks down the road, then they will go through another certification called the WOBB certification. So this is a little bit more advanced, where they have to put in all the learning experience, not only from classroom and web-based learning, but also the various tools that they will need to utilize on a day-to-day interaction with their customers, and put that right into a live demo session under the WOBB certification. And 2 weeks after that, right, we will actually have the run certification. So that would be the final stage of certification to make sure that the sales rep are fully prepared, right, to actually undergo all, to get themselves ready to support all kinds of customers, all kinds of persona that they will actually encounter as they speak to their customers on a day-to-day basis. So as you can see here, this is pretty much a very comprehensive, what we call a 30 days, 60 days, 90 days cadence for each and every one of our new hires.
Thank you, Valerie. Caroline?
Yeah, in content operations, obviously our main function that we're hiring for in Penang is around translation. So that sort of 9 weeks is not a fixed time. It is about helping to get our new colleagues familiar with the translation tools we use. And, we're using AI software. We're using, take our Chinese translation. We're using a customized neural translation engine to produce our patent content, our patent translations, and also a Clarivate proprietary solution to help translate really important content around names of companies, academic institutions, the inventors basically on our patent documents. So there's some specific training around the software and the tools that we use to help support our translation teams. And then obviously we will have a mixture of people joining us. Some people may be used to using patent information, some are fresh graduates who won't necessarily be used to that kind of patent legal document. So again, a lot of training and orientation around the content set. The main thing is that people are coming to us with kind of the right technical background and the translation skills. So really our job is about taking that experience, that background, and then working with the individual to best tailor how we train them up into being able to achieve the quality and to be able to work through the process that we have and the tools that we use. So I think 9 weeks is a really good guide for us, but we also do very much adapt to the individual and how we need to take the training, take the skills that they have, and get them to the skill set that we need. So 9 weeks is a guide, but it's not an absolute for us.
Thank you, Caroline. So we will squeeze one last public question in, and then I will close with a question of my own. So we're very close to 4. Well, we're actually almost 1 minute away from 4 p.m. So yes, Brian, what is the question you picked up from the public?
Right. So there's a question directly addressed to Dr. Caroline. Dr. Caroline, so sorry for covering you.
I thought
that's
this
okay.
is a very good question. Actually, I spotted this question too.
Yes. So can you please share with us how did a PhD in genetics transition to content and IP? I think many PhD holders in Malaysia see the most opportunities in academia. Are there opportunities such as consulting or certain pathways that Clarivate would want PhD holders to join in? Thanks.
Yeah, no, perfect, fantastic question. I mean, I'd done my academic studies, done my PhD, but for me, I decided that I wanted to see something broader. I wanted to get back into a broader array of science. And so intellectual property was something that really fascinated me. So I joined through the content operations in the patents area, specifically annotating genetic sequences from patents through a product called GeneSeq. That's how I came into the business. I work with many colleagues with degrees, with PhDs, with masters in many technology areas within content operations, especially in the life sciences, a really important area. And those skill sets, those more advanced academic skills are really important. But I think for me, it was an opportunity to move away from academia and into something more commercial. We talk again about that innovation life cycle. Academia is incredibly important for research and development, but it's really important to be able to commercialize those products and get those out into the market. And this is the life cycle that here at Clarivate we support. I think also I'll maybe hand over a little bit, especially to Nagain and Valerie as well, because, again, there's other opportunities with those academic backgrounds to move into the sales world, but also into the product development world. We are going through, again, as a business, the need for an incredible amount of innovation to really start to craft and build our products away from maybe the more traditional platform products through to analytics and services like that, to really be able to mine through information and find meaning in it. So again, even from an academic background, if you're coming into the commercial part that really helps drive how we want to build our products of the future, there's some amazing opportunities in there as well. So there's a chance, I think, to take those skill sets, to take that academic knowledge and really kind of help us build out the products for the future, the content for the future. But and again, Valerie, is there anything you'd like to jump in with as well? Because I know even from a sales and a commercial perspective, you're looking for some of those skills as well.
Right, absolutely. I mean, from the customer service side, no, we have people with PhD who have done research, been in part of universities, have joined us. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunity, right? So it's all about building that expertise and growing, vertical, horizontal kind of movement in the future. It's a lot of opportunity.
Right, absolutely right. As I mentioned just now, basically, from an inside sales perspective, we have sales reps that would probably require, technical skill set, backgrounds in biochemistry, pharmaceutical, physics. Reason being because, for the non-technical roles, it's more towards the intellectual property products platform. But for the life science, products, for example, like Cortellis, is basically like, it's just like, for example, a drug development process, right? You have the pre-discovery, drug discovery process, preclinical, clinical trials, and then the review and approval, etc. So each of this, we actually have different kinds of product solutions and services that will be available to our customers. So with that, people with the right background and experience would actually help to accelerate, right, their knowledge of putting this entire process in place and know what solution works best for their customers. So, in a nutshell, basically, we actually, we welcome, all candidates, whether or not you have the technical backgrounds or otherwise. We have multiple roles that is actually open at Clarivate right now. So, look at the JD that will be actually posted after this seminar, and feel free to actually contact us.
Yes, and on that note, I like to kind of close this conversation to kind of summarize a little bit what Valerie said. And I think across the entire hour, we have in bits and pieces talked about the different roles that you are currently recruiting for. But I think so. So I think it's an important question to kind of wrap up the conversation. So the first one would be, I'm going to ask three, right? So I'm a bit greedy. I'm going to ask three questions. Combine them and call them one question. But what opportunities do you currently have for fresh graduates or interns, either local or foreign graduates, and whether they're technical or non-technical, right? So what opportunities do you have around there? How do they apply, or how do they and how do they learn more about Clarivate, right? I think that's what a lot of people want to know. And that's the third question: is how would they be notified, right, if they do apply for a job, or will they be notified?
So I think what we are planning for next year, early next year, is having a graduate program, and this is specifically catered for fresh graduates. And I would completely encourage all the fresh graduates to keep a lookout. Number one, follow us in LinkedIn, right? When you follow us in LinkedIn, every time there's a position, you will be notified. Number two, follow us in our careers website, right? Clarivate at careers.com, and you will also be notified as well. Each time you have applied to us, the HR team, the talent acquisition team, will definitely review, and most of the times you will be notified through our systems. And if you have been shortlisted for the roles, definitely you will you will be contacted by the HR team. And just like what has been presented on the screen just now, those are the links that you can actually look at to make sure that you continue to see what are the job opportunities that are currently available with Clarivate.
Right. Just adding a little bit on that, Derek and Shankar, from a customer service perspective, we have just completed hiring the 3 waves of people, right? Up to about close to 60 plus new hires have just came on board over the last 3 months. And definitely we are looking forward for a very good start in 2021, first quarter, second quarter. The focus would be more from the local regional language support, Japanese, Korean, Mandarin. But again, yeah, look out for those advertisements coming on your way.
Yeah, again, in content operations, we have open roles at the moment looking for translation skills in both Chinese and Japanese, and with the technical background to help translate our patent content. So I think at the moment we've got 3 or 4 open roles there. So definitely if you're looking for that transition over into the business, there's some fantastic opportunities out there, and we're really keen to see those language skills and those technical skills join us.
Yeah, likewise in inside sales, I'm currently actually recruiting for our APAC region. So English speaking reps for India, Southeast Asia, Australia, New Zealand, and we welcome all applicants, native or foreign, even Malaysians, right, who is proficient in both Japanese and Korean, are all welcome to apply.
Yes, and thank you everyone, all the panelists, for your time. And it was a very engaging conversation. I can see that the audience is very engaged. There are just too many questions. We did manage to answer all of them. And there are also lots of questions about how to apply to Clarivate. So as you've heard, they are hiring across the board, and they are actually hiring lots of different positions. And you can see like the different people leading those teams right here in this panel, right? So if you joined us halfway, you can revisit the whole entire video. If you want, you can go to the start. And these are people that you could potentially be working with, right? So if you are interested in any of the roles, the links are here on the screen. We also have links to apply via WOBB if you wanted to do that. So thank you everyone again. And there is a video, right, that Clarivate has prepared, which we will play after this. So thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Derek. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
everyone.
everyone.
So
Bye.
stay on and watch the video, guys. Thank you very much.
Right.
Thank
All the best to our audience and participants. All the best. Take care.
Looking forward to your applications.
Likewise.
Truly, this is an amazing and the best workplace ever. Welcome to Clarivate, where your dreams come true.
Newly established in Penang, Clarivate is the global leader in providing trusted insights and information based on technology-based solutions.
We accelerate the life cycle of innovation. Multinational working environment here offers chances for collaboration around the globe.
Clarivate, venturing into both life science and intellectual property, offers diverse products including Web of Science, Coutelies, Derwent, CompuMark, TechStreet, and Mark Monitor.
We are very excited about the setting up of the GBC in Penang. It's going to be one of the most unique organizations across the world for the Clarivate world. The Global Business Center here will be supporting the world, which is going to be borderless. The Global Business Center is in the industry of the future, and that would mean that everyone that joins us, they will be able to grow and thrive their career. And this is really a great opportunity where you will be able to have excellent environment, great opportunity, and the ability to grow. Our tagline is the best workplace ever, and this is going to be a complete experience for everyone that walks into the company.
I saw the opportunity for career growth and advancement in Clarivate.
Clarivate expands my horizon and enhances my personal growth, not only as an employee but also as a person.
Full of life and opportunities, Clarivate has made my job remarkable and encouraged me to venture further.
As the heart of the operation, I feel that this is a company for everyone.
As a content specialist, I'm grateful to be in the team to support Clarivate Mandarin patent content as I get to experience behind the scene of a market-leading patent research and analytics platform, and at the same time having opportunity to interact with international colleagues to expand global perspective.
As a content analyst, I ensure the quality and accuracy of data in translated patent documents.
As a product support representative in the EndNote team, I have a very kind manager to guide me and a great team to work with.
I'm a product rep support with the WOSG team. I believe the opportunities for growth here is limitless. We are like a second family coming from diverse backgrounds. We welcome you with open arms. At here, we value every voice. Doesn't matter which position you hold, we all matter to each other.
We emphasize mutual respect, two-way communication, and empower everyone's voice at the workplace.
Our daily workplace is positive and filled with joy, laughter, and contentment.
We feel comfortable and welcome whenever we meet each other. We are just like a big family, or ohana, I would say. Never have I felt so welcome in my working life.
So, why don't you join us and embark on this race too? Like Jerry always say, let's go, go, go!
The best.
The best. The best.
The best. The best.